Thanks for joining us today for this presentation. I'm just switching it to the slideshow. I made this presentation in March at the Real Estate Institute of the Northern Territory, and this version is going to be a shortened 15-minute only version, so grab a cup of coffee or tea and sit back as we've got a lot to cover here in the next 15 minutes. My name is Rod Smith. I have a company here called LinkedIn Guides and also an outsourcing company. Our motto is connecting professionals with the NT. We have a presence in Darwin, Adelaide and Davao. We've developed over 50 profiles in the NT in the last 6 months. We essentially have a 3-stage process. We profile in detail a professional's backgrounds. We create the profile and then we develop a networking strategy, and for businesses and individuals we also do networking on LinkedIn for them. So today I'm going to answer 4 questions. What is LinkedIn? How big is LinkedIn? Why brand yourself on LinkedIn? LinkedIn's tips for real estate professionals. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is so much more than a resume. Most people that I talk to often think, well, I'm not looking for a job, so why do I need LinkedIn? Because it's just an online resume. It's a lot more than that. LinkedIn is essentially your key online professional brand. It includes a lot of factors and components that I'll discuss during this presentation, but combinations of your endorsements, companies, recommendations, groups, connections and profiles. So it's much more than a static resume. People ask me what's the key value of LinkedIn, and I say it's your connections, and your connections. And what I mean by this is that LinkedIn allows for you to see the relationship between your network and their network, and it also allows for you to see who via referral or directly through that network that you can contact and possibly build business or build professional relationships. So it makes things much more transparent here in the territory, across Australia and globally. LinkedIn allows for you to consolidate your professional identity on one platform. So traditionally you would have a static resume, a printed resume, you'd have printed references, printed documentation, printed material related to your professional career. You'd also have contact lists and business cards in different locations, Excel sheets of your professional networks. You're able to consolidate that on a single network via LinkedIn, and a platform that's much more versatile than the traditional mediums that you used before. LinkedIn's also great for professional insights. LinkedIn itself is partnering with a lot of major content providers. So if you're a real estate agent, they're partnering with a lot of real estate related publications, and they're feeding that content into LinkedIn. So you just have to check and request professional information about real estate related subjects, and that will be ported into your LinkedIn login. Also, you get insights from your groups that you join, groups in Australia related to real estate or specific segments of the real estate industry in Australia. And most importantly, you get insights from your network. So it's updates from people that you've connected with on LinkedIn. Finally, LinkedIn is mobile. You can access LinkedIn from any device, an iPad, a mobile phone, a computer. You don't have to be accessing it from a work computer, a specific desktop, a specific computer's network, and therefore it's also mobile if you change jobs as well. So let's just compare Facebook with LinkedIn. People are quite familiar with Facebook. It's usually it's your actual personal or social identity, versus LinkedIn, which is your professional network identity. Relationships that you develop on your Facebook are primarily with friends, family and colleagues, versus LinkedIn, which is colleagues and business contacts. Friends and family really shouldn't be on LinkedIn unless there's a professional association. LinkedIn should really focus on your professional network. Finally, the activities on Facebook are status updates, social gaming and content sharing such as photo sharing, versus LinkedIn when you're looking at activities to develop your professional identity, maintaining and building your professional connections, and educating yourself through professional insights. There's a big key difference between Facebook and LinkedIn. They have different purposes, different functions, you build different relationships, and you have different activities on both of the platforms. So how big is LinkedIn? 250 million members plus in 2013, 2 new members a second, and 200 million unique visitors a month. LinkedIn's growth in Asia, and I think it's important to recognize this, has happened so quickly, and this is what you have to understand about getting into LinkedIn now, is where it sits now, where it will be in 2 or 3 years' time will be dramatically different. 2009 they set up an office in India. Now they've now got 21 million members. In 2011 they had a Bahasa Indonesia, Bahasa Malay, and a Tagalog Filipino version. They both all got 1 million members within a year. Singapore got 2 million members by within 8 million members within 2 years, which is 70% of their working population. Hong Kong has approached 1 million members since 2009. Japan's been less successful, and that's due to cultural reasons. But China, very interesting for real estate. If you're looking at investors from overseas, the Chinese are huge down south at the moment. And they have 3.5 million members, but LinkedIn was only available in English until the end of last year, so those members are all English speaking and have an international focus, so it's a very good contact list. Finally, New Zealand's actually exceeded 1 million now, and Australia's around about 5 million members. It's huge growth very quickly across the Asian region. LinkedIn is the #1 business site in Australia, #2 social media tool, #8 most visited site in Australia, and 22% of online adult males have a LinkedIn profile. Let's look at the numbers across the capital. As you can see, there are 28,000 members in the territory in total. If you compare that to the number of members in Sydney, where there are over 20,000 real estate members, the numbers look quite insignificant. But I think it's important from a real estate perspective is that there are a lot of investors down south considering investing in Northern Australia now. It's coming onto the radar. They're going to use LinkedIn if they don't have relationships with existing networks to profile and qualify realtors in the territory. So if we have a look at the 20 only commercial real estate agents currently listed in the Northern Territory, they have a good opportunity to pick up business interstate if they're smart. There are about 300 realtors in general on LinkedIn at this stage in Northern Territory. Across the NT, there's a whole lot of, we can break down professions by very specific segments using LinkedIn. For example, here there are 1,100 business owners listed on LinkedIn. There are 536 accounting professionals in the Greater Darwin area, which includes Palmerston. And for example, there are 325 members who are construction professionals with over 10 years experience in the NT. So you're able to really break down a segment. If you compare this to the Chamber of Commerce, there's about 10 times to 20 times as many members on LinkedIn as there are in the Chamber of Commerce. Demographically, LinkedIn is getting younger. So you can see that the largest group is the 35 to 54-year-old age group, whilst the 25 to 34-year-old age group has increased a lot in the last few years, and we're seeing a lot of growth here within the 18 to 24-year-old age group. Secondly, in terms of the size of a business, small to medium-sized operators only represent 1/4 of this stage of total members on LinkedIn in Australia. But this segment's growing rapidly, and I believe that SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises, have the most to benefit from LinkedIn. It really is leveling the playing field in terms of providing access to possible prospects. So why brand yourself on LinkedIn? Firstly, I believe you should brand yourself on LinkedIn because it's the #1 professional branding tool available in Australia. If you get a stranger to Google your name plus Northern Territory, it's most likely that the first result was use your LinkedIn profile. You see Quinton Killian here has got a very high profile in the REINT, and still #2 is his LinkedIn profile. And someone looking at Quinton, if they do a search, will most likely click on the LinkedIn profile rather than the REINT website to get an indication of their backgrounds. Looking here in terms of LinkedIn being used as a qualifier of to qualify service providers, so real estate agents, big thing down south, and also something that's happening more here is that people will LinkedIn them. That is, they'll hear about someone, they'll do some research, they'll look up their LinkedIn profile to get a better indication at the early stage whether this is a real estate agent they'd want to use. And you can see here, starting in 2005 and leading up to 2013, the number of times that LinkedIn has been used as a search term in Australia on Google has exploded. And you compare that to Darwin. This is the Darwin level here for as a keyword on LinkedIn. Thirdly, because LinkedIn is used by 94% of recruiters in Australia. of that, the main reason they use it, 96%, is to search for candidates. I really honestly don't know what the other 4% are doing on LinkedIn if they're recruiters, but it is the key tool to find talent in Australia. So if you want to make yourself visible to recruiters, to other employers, then get on LinkedIn. Also, I think it's an important tool to build trust, likeness, and familiarity. So the situation here where you have someone that says, I'm a person, since you're a person I trust, I wanted to invite you to join my network on LinkedIn. They're on the street corner. That person would have no idea who they are a lot of the time if you meet them in a networking context over a drink. But on LinkedIn, you're able to see what sort of work experience they have, their certs, their endorsements, the groups that they joined, the projects they've worked on, the companies they've worked with, recommendations they've received. That helps you build the trust, likeness, and familiarity. Point 5 here is we have to have a look at LinkedIn is really leveling the playing field. So as I mentioned before, 300 to 400 realtors now are on LinkedIn in the territory. Someone can do a LinkedIn search and find 300 to 400 very quickly and see a lot of information about the specific profiles. So unless your profile is effective, unless you rank highly and your profile is effective, you could miss out on someone clicking on your profile. So just basics, your profile photo, then they'll look at your headline, your location, the number of shared connections, and they'll make a decision in less than a second to connect on your profile. Point 6 is LinkedIn allows for you to specialize, and so that you're able to highlight your focus. Quinton here is the CEO of the REINT, has a very specific role, and this profile allows for him to network with others and communicate his very specific role within the real estate industry in the Northern Territory. It's also very valuable to a powerful tool for broadcasting your skills and expertise. Many people are uncomfortable with the idea of self-promotion, and LinkedIn's a great way for you to promote yourself very subtly to a specific target audience through the endorsements and recommendations of others in the industry. So here that I have 45 new business development endorsements and one from Quinton here on my profile. So LinkedIn tips for realtors. I've only got a couple of minutes left. The key thing here is to upload a very suitable photo. It should be a passport type photo. Clear, you should be in professional attire, and it should only be you in the photo with a clear headshot. These photos here, you cannot identify who and connect with their face. Sunglasses, not relevant, and obviously no photo there. It's 7 times less likely to be clicked through than someone with a photo. Here is your highlight box, which is the most important part of your profile, and the thing in the orange is called the headline. The headline by default is your current position and company. What you can do is personalize this. So I personalize mine to have a call to action and highlight my key skills, which is LinkedIn and outsourcing, and a call to action connecting professionals with the NT, which is my motto as well, a tagline for the company, and a phone number. Very critical to get someone to click through to your profile using an effective headline. Filling out contact information might seem like a no-brainer, but nearly all my clients don't have this filled out correctly. If LinkedIn can't identify where you're based, what your contact information is, how is it going to filter your search results when people are searching for people in Darwin? So that's it, because I've only got 15 minutes. If you want to see the rest of the REINT presentation that I had to the members, you must be a member of the REINT. Contact me and I can organise for a private webinar, and go to LinkedIn Guides and see some information about what we do, and you can see some of the samples of the 50 or so profiles we've done in the NT over the last couple of months. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with LinkedIn.